I have a couple events coming on tomorrow, so just hello everyone. Welcome to the Friday energy message oracle guidance for this week. Welcome. As you jump into the room and into the chat, let us know where you're coming from. I think I know Nostro is in, I'm pretty sure Cali, right? And this week's energy message is actually a lot earlier today versus later on in the evening, just because I have a couple events coming on tomorrow. So just for timing purposes, so it works out beautifully. And my name is Stephanie. For those of you who are new, I know a lot of new people have been coming in recently. Shamanic High Priestess, Divine Cosmic Empress, and as an energy healer, intuitive, I work with people to help them to connect to their soul's gifts. People are really highly sensitive to energy, and really so that they can harness the energy that they really have, right? And that's something that we're often not, taught about, especially out in this world, right? So welcome as you're coming in. So if this is your first time, the flow of the chat is going to be an energy message of what's coming forward. Usually I get guidance and channel messages, especially with like certain events. So we're coming up to the new moon on Monday on the 13th, new moon in Scorpio. And then we also have tomorrow, which is Saturday, 11/11. So it's also known as the 11/11 portal. And so these are things that are events coming up. What is the energy, especially as we approach towards the end of the year? And something that I literally just got done writing down, I'm actually looking to see if I can find my incense. I just got done writing an email for the chat, and for those who are subscribed to the email list, link in my bio. And as I'm writing, this is an extension. Usually I'll just write channeled messages of what's coming forward, and then always one message leads to the next, right? And in it, I'm typing and talking about portals, and maybe something maybe people don't really know. Let me know if you do. So portals are really just doors, and these are doors, whether they are days, it could be numbers, it can be moments, obviously moments, astrological significances where the transits are moving, and these portals, these doors are moments of opportunities for us to connect to the energy that's being present. What is the universe trying to convey to you in this moment, right? Through the symbology and the energy was coming forward. And so what I kept seeing, like most recently, is doors. And it keeps saying doors on doors on doors. It's like you're stacking abundance, abundance, abundance. And so the energy of what's coming forward towards the end of the year is that not only, have we come up with like Samhain, Halloween, the eclipse season, like, and coming off that, entry of witchy season connection to the earth, but now 11/11/11, right? That 11 in numerology or in like angelic numbers, when you see the ones, right, in sequence, it's 11 is that master number, right? And as I light this incense, just so I can clear the cards and the energy, especially this deck particularly that I'm going to use today, I kept seeing the image to share and read from this deck in particular. And so 11 being the master number, that is a moment where really opportunity, abundance is arising. Like we're reaching, you can think of this as the first door that we're going through, right? And in the first door, right after eclipse season, if you've been doing a lot of your energy work, subconscious healing, reprogramming, releasing old shadows that have been coming up for you, we literally have December coming up where it is Christmas, right? The holiday season. And so within, so without, what you see in one aspect and area, whether you can even if it's in like conventional like world and society, also is a reflection of what's happening within and in the spiritual realms, right? And even before Christmas and holidays, you have Thanksgiving, symbolically speaking, is a time of gathering, so a lot of like hope and gratitude, like the building of this intentional energy of stepping into like this space of gratitude, looking at where you are, looking at what you have, what you've gone through in the past year, and then gearing up towards like what is it that you're about to like ask for the new year, right? When we talk about and welcome, when we talk about like what's our next steps, especially if you're someone who is highly sensitive to energy, you're an intuitive, or you've already been on this path for a while, right? Like for you particularly, like where do you see yourself? Where do you feel like your soul's calling out for you to step into? Where have you been limiting yourself? And like especially the next couple of this last month and a half at this point, what doors can you intentionally open? And when we work with energy, when we work with these portal doors, and I'm also thinking about moments where when you travel to certain spaces and places on the earth has their own particular chakras, right? These are known, for some reason I can't even think about the word today, and I kept trying to think about it. It's like gate portals, right? Where essentially we go and connect with these particular places because they have a whole lot of energy. So when you align yourself, whether these are places, the times, days, dates, you're essentially working with the energy in a synchronistic way so that you are aligning with the highest abundance in opportune moments. So you are moving in alignment towards what it is that you're calling forward, what you're moving into. Likewise, like the eclipse season, all these moments that were going to come up, essentially like a lot of like the U-turn moments, things that were unexpected, right? That you didn't even think about. Maybe you were aiming in one trajectory in your life at that point a couple weeks ago, but like suddenly things started turning around where you didn't expect them, but it was a redirection. That moment as well was an opportunity. It's just different energy, right? And I feel this is more of a calling in. And as with everything that you're manifesting, calling forward and asking for assistance from your spirit guides in the energy and spirit realms, it really is a matter of also big question to ask yourself. The desire that I'm holding, that I am praying for, what resistance is coming up when it comes to this, right? Like what resistance do I feel, or do I feel like a belief or emotion that is coming up for me that maybe somewhere doesn't believe it is possible or true for me? What is that story? Whatever resistances come forward, really, that is what you want to also be aware of. So it's not just about manifesting and putting the desire out there, because you're going to have resistances come up. And the important thing is to work with it and clear it, release it, so that you're able to step forward towards the doors that are coming forward now, right? So there's a lot of astrological symbology and things coming up in the energies. And at the same time, you have like these angel numbers and the angels speaking forward. In particular, like when we keep this thing in mind, especially like tomorrow, I would definitely recommend for you to take an intentional moment, even if you can at 11:11, either AM and BM, right? When you can set your intentions, tune in to the energy of what you can feel around it, what's coming up, what you're asking for, grounding yourself, and allowing yourself to feel this abundant energy just feels beautiful and loving. And on that note, another energy aspect we have is Venus meeting in with like sign of Libra with the moon. The moon today is in Libra. And that's an energy of love and abundance. So you see all the signs stacking, and the keyword is stacking, right? And let me know if this resonates with you, what's coming forward. I love that when we come into these moments, into these chats, to really recalibrate ourselves, realign, we just allow our spirit and our higher selves to speak forward, right? What we need to hear, what we need to receive. And so with that being said, the whole Venus thing, it's like, okay, falling into the love and beauty, like what is it that is coming forward for, you know, me where I can amplify this energy of beauty and love around me in my life, right? Because the more you can amplify this energy of gratitude, beauty, like you're stepping into this aspect where you are holding your vibrational energy high during the next coming months. The more the energy around you is in that higher state, the less resistance you have, right? Towards the opportunities that are coming forward, towards the things you already have in your hand. This is actually something that we highlighted in last week's reading, where we were holding the Ace of Pentacles in your hand, coming forward, the doors, you know, like you have to be willing to also allow yourself to count the blessings in every space, or else how are you going to multiply what already is, right? And everything's energy. And so if you're new, you know, I work with energy. I see energy in terms of the systems and the colors and chakras. So when I work with people, it's like, okay, where is the energy not flowing for you? What color am I seeing that's coming forward? What do we need to move? Because if there's a stagnancy coming in your field, that it's in your field, right? You need to be able to address that, recalibrate yourself, realign yourself so that you are able to, you know, really step into the next embodiment of yourself, but also receiving. Receiving is very important, which is also in the last week's reading. And tuning into like what else? New moon in Scorpio on Monday. So surprisingly, and let me know, you know, Scorpio season is the sign, it's ruled by Pluto, Mars, where it's death, rebirth, transformation. It is the part that likes to get down to the truth, right? To the darkness, to the like esoteric, the really deep hidden truths, especially around the spiritual realms that a lot of people don't really talk about. It could be controversial, right? And how's it been feeling for you? Because some people don't really like to go there. Some people don't really like to go deep into the like subconscious of like what's hidden within me that I'm not allowing myself to see. But Scorpio likes it. Like, let's bring this topic up, you know, let's get controversial. Let's like, it could be shocking, right? But it is needed in order for you to rise up into that stage of the phoenix. I mentioned earlier, Scorpio is, you have the three symbolizing the animals. You have the Scorpio in general with a tail, little sting, right? Hard shell. And then you have the rising of the phoenix, the transformation, the ability for you to, it's like the spiritual essence, to see things from a higher perspective once you allow yourself to ground in and really go into those waters. The Scorpio is a water sign that is fixed. And also, with that being said, you have the third, you know, animal and spirit animal, which would be the eagle, like just higher, like flying high. And in order to really get to those levels of ascension on your spiritual ascension journey and seeing your life and what's coming forward for you, you have to be willing to surrender into what's really coming up. So everyone's different depending on their astrology. For me, I have a moon in Scorpio, so I'm always going through a death rebirth cycle in terms of what's coming forward. And what that looks like personally could be your beliefs, subconscious beliefs, you know, emotions, traumas that come up for you to acknowledge and then move on and alchemize into your power. That's the other thing. Scorpio is about your power. So as we end towards the end of the year, there's all the symbology, all the energy is really signaling like, who are you going to become? Like, what are you intending? Are you doing that now? I'd recommend you do it now, not later. Please don't start in January. You know, because the more you can work with the energies and when you learn to do this, I would say it's the more support that you have. When you work with energy and the alignment and timings, spirit guides, right, power, animals, what you're essentially doing is you are allowing yourself to touch base into the higher aspects of yourself and the energy realms. I call it your higher self, right? And you're also tapping into this abundance and help when you work with spirit guides in the energy bodies to do work up in the higher realms, 4D, 5D consciousness above, right? Things that you can't really do in the physical plane and where you are here. But you can do it tapped into the energy, into the spirit. And so that's essentially, like, who are you becoming? That's the biggest question. Like, how can you step into your power in this next year, especially with the node in Aries, North node in Aries, which is power, like individuality, and speaking, going into the momentum of what feels right for you and not stagnating yourself back based off of, I would say based off of what, and I'm trying to fix this incense here, based off of like the collective, not holding yourself back because of whatever other people think about. So this is really a great opportune moment this weekend to really allow yourself to step into that. And really allow yourself to work with that energy. So I would say setting an intention tomorrow. The energy feels very, very beautiful right now going into tomorrow, 11/11 portal. And then on Monday, like 3 days before, 3 days after is when you can really begin to work. And also at the peak of the day of the moon, new moon or full moon, of the energy. And for those who are joining us and are stepping into your power ritual tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Eastern, this is the very topic. We're going to be tapping into our power to, what we are looking to anchor in, especially with these portals, and then also allowing ourselves to transform with the Scorpio new moon. And all this, all the impacts and the change that you see when you begin to work and tap into the energy realms like this, starts first in the energy, starts first in the things the unseen, starts first in the subconscious, right? To transform what your beliefs and emotions are, how you perceive your world, because life is really just a dream. You're consciously and unconsciously creating things all the time. But the idea is that you begin to be more intentional about what you are creating. That's how you get your power back, right? Life doesn't just happen to you when you're more aware of it. And I just literally did a post about this. Like, things shift because you are now taking responsibility to what you carry in your hands. And with that being said, I'm going to see what comes up for like a collective card reading for us here. And the deck, and I love to show what are the decks that are coming forward today, was really strong. And it is the Moonology deck. This is by Yasmin Bullen. And I really do like her. She's honestly the first teacher that I started working with in terms of following the cycles of the moon. When I first started working with the moons, it was a lot. But in time, the more if it's something that calls to you, the more you acknowledge the days, you learn to see and how the relationship with yourself and the energy and the signs of the planets and the stars mean to you, right? And it all eventually comes together. It's like a new language you're picking up. And so we're going to go in and see what comes up. I feel like last time I did have space for anyone who wanted a reading. And if you do, if anything is resonating as you are here present, let us know what's coming up. A word, thought, image. I also encourage you to use these spaces to practice your intuition, right? Because that is the work in nature that I do, is help people to really step into their psychic and intuitive gifts that you've come into this lifetime with. So as we tune in, I also invite you to take a moment to maybe close your eyes and just breathe out. Just anything, any thoughts you brought up with yourself. And, from today, this week, what things you need to release. And maybe setting your intention, And I know, at least for me, when it comes to, other thing, it was the first time with reading with me. I will show you the card. I will explain what I see, the things are popping up, and also shows you how to like use your intuition. So that when you read for yourself, if you have your own set of deck, cards, you can do that, like practice. And then everything, if I pull multiple cards, usually it tells the story, and so that's one way in terms of how to read like the cards for yourself. And so we have, I know 2 popped out for me, and this one was the second one. I'm going to read the first one I actually saw. And this is the cardinal moon. And so the cardinal moon, you can see that I would say this is more of a moon that is waxing. So like something is building. So essentially when the moon is waxing, it means like it's starting to get brighter and brighter, right? Eventually to the point that it's going to become a full moon. Here you have really the image that you see is more of the light sky than the dark trees. And the sign says cardinal moon and welcome. And with the cardinal moon, this is be bold and make the first move. So when we were just talking about taking action and walking through doors, I would say, especially with tomorrow and the energy coming forward and towards the end of the year, that's what our conversation was about. What doors do you need to walk through? What action do you need to take? And with this reminds you, cardinals, like that initiation. It is that first jump start. Oftentimes, too, we feel like we stop ourselves from starting and even taking action. And the important thing is, and then something that I'm learning in my own life, too, is when it comes to like taking action, just take it. Like, we don't fall into the perfectionism. Just take the action, and then you can refine. If your highest intention is like, I'm doing my best, let go of the perfectionism, because the perfectionism will hold you back. And the other card that comes forward that I also pulled through was actually take time to breathe out. So with taking time to breathe out, also that guidance with, I find that just because the energies are high and I would say like the doors are opening, I have this tendency too, maybe you too, where you're really excited. Let me just open every door. Like literally the one behind me, Let me just go through every door. And honestly, that's good. That's good to take action, take momentum. But at the same time, you want to take action in the sense that at the same time, honor yourself, honor your energy, see how you are feeling throughout the times, because you also don't want to go where you are essentially leading the burnout, right? You need a good harmonic balance between action and rest. And so as you do, and I feel this is a good, practice for a lot of people when it comes to connecting through their intuition, masculine and feminine. Masculine energy is like that taking action step. And as you do, then the feminine is like the coming back, allowing yourself to sit back and also just really trusting the action you did. Trusting the door you walk through. And when you do so, I feel like it's like this hot and cold energy, right? You see this red, you see this blue cooling. That's the other thing that I see in these 2 pictures. And oftentimes also what you can see in this moon with the cardinal, taking bold action here, be bold in making the first move card. Look at the moon and look how bright it is. It's not that big yet, right? It's not fully complete like a full moon. So that kind of shows you do not, especially with portal doors opening, you do not need to take like a lot of action. That's what typical societal, patriarchal, paradigms, especially around business and life. People think you need to force and do a lot for you to see results. But when you work with energy in the spirit, and your spirit guides and allies, it's actually not true. You can take the right action is all that's needed. One thing that moves the needle, and really what brings the rest of the results is in the quantum, is in the spiritual, because you can see in the blue card with the disseminating moon, taking time to, sit back and relax, to breathe out. The receiving and really the expansion, the full moon is like, okay, when things are building up, well, you receive more in the sitting back and the feminine energy and the relaxing and the trusting. I took one small aligned action. I set my intention in prayer. I leave it to the universe, and then I wait back to see, right? And it might not always be immediate, but just know that if you hold that frequency, if you hold that energy vibration, vibrationally holding yourself high in this coming month and a half, just trust in seeing how things are going to work out for you, right? Keep your eyes open to the signs, to the synchronicities. And I feel it's a really good just reminder that it's not all about doing a lot. Really, the key is, and especially with manifesting, or I call it content creation, because you're co-creating with the universe, right? Rather than forcing and manipulating things. With the highest timeline for yourself and those around you is to work intentionally. And when you put intentional prayer, devotion, action, and you move in that right alignment, something that rare brought me back towards yesterday was, I just want to take the right action in alignment with spirit. That vibration comes from a heart space, centered place, versus from over masculine, and you're in your head, and then you're worrying about the action, and you're like overanalyzing. Did I do it right? I didn't show up perfectly, right? When you're in this headspace and then you're taking action from here, that the vibrations, and this here, Natural, who joined us, your vibration is clearer, right? There's not a lot of wonky energy in the field of what you are putting out in your action momentum. And so just to maybe elaborate a little bit more, and you can let me know if you would like a card pull for yourself. Feel free to drop a picture of a moon. And there's a lot of emojis. When you search up moon, there'll be different phases. See which one resonates with you. And as I pull up and elaborate a little bit more in terms of what's coming forward, and if taking time to breathe. And letting me know how that resonates with you so far, right? So, taking time to breathe, and we're talking about disseminating moon. There we go. All right. So the disseminating moon was the blue card that we had pulled out, and that was the one that says taking out time to breathe. Oh, okay. We see Beth. And with the blue moon here. So a little extra just elaboration. It says the intensity of the full moon has abated. And what are we left with? That's what this card is asking you. It suggests that the situation you're asking about has now peaked, and it's time for you to regroup and learn from your experiences rather than blindly forging ahead. Have faith that what is happening to you is for the best, and try to accept the way that things are now, giving yourself and others time out to relax, to breathe. We can't be on all the time, right? Especially after you take an aligned action or step. If you feel you've hit an obstacle or even failed in some way, now's the time to reflect on how to do things differently next time. Just be honest with yourself. If you feel bad about current situation, and then remind yourself that life goes in cycles. And like I was saying, it's not about perfectionism. It's just really taking the action, because that's how you move the needle in your life. And maybe ask yourself, or even affirm yourself, I am where I am, and it's okay. And a little bit more, it just says a disseminating moon is that moon phase after the explosion of energy that comes with the full moon. And no matter when you pick that card, it suggests you're at home, you're at a space that's more at, tranquility in the life cycle, whatever situation you're asking about. And hey, beautiful. And, this is not the ideal time to start something new, especially after you take an action. Take time to draw inward, reassess what is your intuition leading you towards and guiding you. And then the Be Bold and Cardinal Moon. And if you're just joining us, feel free to drop a moon phase when you go into your emojis. What moon phase is calling out to you if you would like a card to be pulled for you? And so the Cardinal Moon. Here we go. It was the red card. It was one that when you take action, it's not about taking a whole bunch of action. If you can see that bright yellow spot right there in the moon phase, it's like just enough action to move the needle forward. And so now is the time to be bold and take matters into your own hands. Cardinal signs are about powerful and self-starting, and they're determined with great organization. Drawing this card strongly suggests that you're going to need to be all those things to get to your ideal resolution or position yourself in a situation that you're asking about. This card may challenge you on how strongly you really want something. If you're worrying about a situation, it's a suggestion to be less passive and instead take an assertive stance to steer events where you want them to go. Speak up for what you want. And if you're serious about sorting things out, you may need to take the lead in some way to step out as a leader. And so that can also relate to like where you are in particularly in your individual life. And then I love the fact that both of the cards actually are total opposites. And yet when you read them, it could be whole picture wise, reading them in totality, or reading them as in the individual where you are right now in your moment in life, right? For you personally. And just taking in what you heard and seeing like, okay, where am I? What is it? And I talk about this too, feminine and masculine balance in yourself. If you're someone who needs to take action, that's a sign. I need to take action. Maybe I've been too passive. If you're someone who's been taking too much action, opposite is needed, Maybe I need to sit back and, reassess, to rest, to reset, self-nurture and care. And so I'm just going to take a look here. And if you're coming in, just, let us know where you're from. Or if you want a reading, just feel free to drop a phase of the moon. And I see here that we have mostly a waxing and then a full. And then you went straight to a new moon. Okay. So that will be beautiful, Beth. Okay. Yeah. So waxing, full, and then new moon. Hi, Beth. And then we're doing your pull to see what comes forward for you. And based off of your emojis that felt resonating to you. So for Beth, we have a full moon in Libra. A win-win outcome is forecast situation. So first things first, we're actually in the moon in Libra tonight. So when we talk about Libra, ruled by the planet of Venus, it's that balance and harmony, right? I think where you are, especially if we're talking about the scales, a good space. You're not either in a space where, for most people, I would feel like they need to bring themselves down a little bit, or on the aspect of this other scale, like we were saying, maybe you need a little bit more energy. You're actually in a good space of where you are in terms of receiving. And when it comes to this beautiful planet and also the pink and the purple, I feel like a lot of heart energy. And especially because where I feel, where if I like to look at, okay, you for some reason felt inspired to go with the waxing full and new, it's like you literally just went, did you go through like a transition or a transformation or some sort of cycle of completion, right? And I feel like you're in a good space for receiving. And so that win-win situation, you know, holding the fact of that intention, that desire, affirming that this is a win-win, right? Whatever situation's coming up, or even where you are, just holding that vibration, the energy, that mentality, right? That aspect. And with this, I just feel like it's a good sign for you in terms of just extra like oomph of like what it is that you are bringing in forward, and especially what you have maybe been going through. Not sure what has been coming up for you recently, whether it was this week or just in general. And with that new moon, I feel like, okay, now what can you hold? What can you kind of just continue to amplify in terms of what you have, right? In terms of stepping to that space of gratitude or excitement, so you can amplify what's coming forward. I have here, and thank you, and let us know if anything popped up for you, especially with your magnetic whirlpool of diamond and stars. And I find it's interesting because a lot of times, you know, when people work with emojis, it also shows like, okay, it's another way to express yourself, especially without words, which is important because sometimes words get in the way. And we have natural, you know, natural, Shanita. So she has the new moon here. So the dark new moon. And being open just to see what comes up for you, what comes up for all of us, especially with this moon deck here. Sometimes when I see multiple cards, I'm like, which one feels like it? Like, what is the card that's popping up, right? Okay. And so we have new moon in Scorpio, which is funny because the moon is on Monday, is in Scorpio, literally the new moon. And so with that new moon in Scorpio, working through your fears. Funny that you put the new moon emoji there. And the first thing that I kind of felt like I tapped in, it's like, okay, yes, diving in deep in terms of any resistances that are coming up for you or have been coming up for you or things that you kind of grapple with. I was saying earlier that usually when it comes to setting an intention, usually new moons is like the start of a phase, right? It is when you plant something forward. And when you are putting that desire forward, oftentimes you might find a resistance or thought or emotion that comes up around that subject or on the path to it. And the important thing to realize is, okay, what is it that's coming up for me? And how can I dive deep into allowing myself to feel, to feeling it? And ultimately, Scorpio is a transformation. Scorpio is about power. It is not from running away, but allowing yourself to alchemize the situation or emotion, belief that's coming up for you and turning it into your strength. So, example, oftentimes people may go like, let's say something that's common for most people. Okay, so it's, you know how you talk about your intentions, right? And you're wanting to receive more, but maybe your ego is first and like, oh, this paycheck wasn't enough. But so that in itself, because you're like, oh, the check is now going down, dwindling as I'm paying my bills, etc. But if you were to change that into a different perspective, right? Well, at least I got paid, right? And I'm paying off my bills. I'm grateful because, this allows the flow to take care of what I need right now, right? And that's just like a smaller, like surface level aspect of how to alchemize something. But at a deeper level, it can also be in your welcome, Beth. And definitely want to read your comment here. And it could be, I think it's a deep call, a step forward into a deeper transformation. Because oftentimes, Scorpio is that big sign of like, it's a deep work. It isn't just not surface level, at the very tip of my tail. It's like I'm getting my hands dirty in terms of whatever is coming forward, and then allowing myself to plenty of like introspective work, serve self, nurture and care, so that you can create the space for what wants to come up. And also when you do allow yourself to see it that way, where I'm allowing myself to see this, whatever fear, right? Or thing I'm working through, that is when you allow yourself to go from the Scorpio to the Phoenix to the Eagle, and you can see it from a different angle. You can see it. That's the transformation of death, rebirth, that whole cycle allows you to see something that you used to see it from one perspective and one narrow lens point of view, and then eventually you see it from a different angle, from a wider view, as you lean back, step back. So definitely have like this just guidance to like kind of just ease in, relax, curate a safe space for yourself so that you can allow yourself to view into that, lean into it. And Beth here is, yes, indeed, on the precipice of going into something that will give me the push to tell my near-death experience that was so jam-packed with spiritual occurrences and could be a movie, book, or something. Okay. And even looking at that example from Beth, it's just like whatever situation she went through and seeing it from such a different lens, right? Oftentimes that is exactly, like, that is where the power lies, right? Like, things that we think in our life, and oftentimes too, we think are like the thorns of our side, honestly, in the soul's journey, there's a reason that you had to go through it. There's a reason why you're going through it. There's a reason that God allowed it, right? When you look at it that way, if God allowed it, is because he knows that I have the full capability to go through it. And there's a lesson in something. And usually it's like something empowering into transforming into a light, right? So it's not going to be weighing you down, but if you allow yourself to just like see it from a different lens. And sometimes, like I said, the healing, you need to unravel a lot of stories in order to see things from a wider lens and perspective. May not be right there, but it'll come if you allow yourself to sit with it and hold the intention of, I'm willing to see this, and even praying that as I walk throughout my life. And the more receptive you are in terms of leaning back and allowing yourself to feel safe to receive the guidance and wisdom, the more you'll see that clarity trickle in through in your life. And that is actually something that I feel that is often, forgotten and needs to be said, because the more you can create space where you feel safe, to physically and mentally, emotionally, rather than seeing this as something that's weighing you down or could weigh you down, the more the clarity will come, the release, the trust. It is good for the highest, right? And at least for tonight, I think that was all the readings. And I thank you so much for everybody being here. If you're just jumping on, feel free to watch the replay. It's the energy about the weekend leading up to the new moon, and towards the end of the year, things are coming forward too. And just know that whenever you tune into a reading, that message either lands in now or later. Something resonates, and you can allow yourself to go through that rabbit hole of what's coming forward for you. And then also in sharing in different in comments too, like what resonated with you. Someone's perspective can enlighten some wisdom in yours, right? And that's the good thing about sharing in story and getting together. And right before I go, because I don't want to forget, if you haven't already, feel free to subscribe to my link in my bio, Divine Cosmic Empress, for the newsletter. Tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern, we have the new moon in Scorpio ritual ceremony, and we already have beautiful souls jumping into the container with us. It is online in Zoom. And we do ritual and ceremony under specific portal days and times, and especially tomorrow, where we work with our intentions and what's coming forward. And this one is more of a abundant feeling, setting the intention, manifesting one. It is a by donations event, so feel free to donate what feels in your heart to give, right? And you will get the link for tomorrow morning. If you feel worried, like, oh, I don't know if I have all the things I need, hey, don't worry. Intention is everything, right? And you can always, you'll have the replay, so you can always set your intention, work with us energetically, and then set your altar space later. So the physical movement and the energy starts to go for you and support for you. And also, I have Vibrational Healing, which right now is on a special fall discount black sale until Black Friday sale, excuse me, until Friday of that weekend after Black Friday. So right now it's like 222 off. Vibrational Healing is my program that's going to lead us towards the end of the year. Right now, the topics and the downloads coming about is really how to anchor in that version of yourself of who you are wanting to become and step into in 2024. And as you know, my work is done in the energy and in the spiritual. And so a lot of times people talk about manifesting and, you know, calling in things in their life and just taking action or just affirming, but really that's not the deep layer work. As I said earlier throughout this, you know, live today in the reading, when you have a desire, sometimes the really big desire will have resistances come up. And so we work energetically. When you are able to ground your energy, you know how to clear yourself at a physical, mental, emotional, energetically, vibrationally level that you can do daily. You allow yourself to release the resistances that naturally come up for you, because we're always surrounded by energy. Things come up and impact us at a chakra energetic level. As I said, your channels need to be flowing. And that causes stagnancies. You know, that also causes you to maybe not take action, that cardinal sign. And when you know how to ground yourself and work in terms of energy practices and how to do this for you, you do not have to just wait until you go see your healer practitioner once a month or every couple months. Like, you know how to do it for yourself, so you are recalibrated, walking in your life in a way where you're feeling supported, anchored. You're seeing the clarity, the signs and synchronicities of your spirit guides. So beautiful. And spirit, you know, allies, your higher self. And in doing so, by holding a very clear vibrational energy and field around you daily, you allow yourself to attract what it is that you're desiring, the life and the quality of living that you want for you, right? And so this is the big push towards the end of the year push, because really we're not going to be doing like forced action. It is more energetic work. There's people who want to connect to your intuition and how to work with energy. It's not something that is taught. And so all that information is up in the link in bio. As I said, it's on a Black Friday pre-sale right now. And other than that, I would say thank you so much for being here. You know, just the fact that we showed up to tune in the energies, the messages that are coming forward for us. I do pray that this weekend you will take the time to set your intentions, please rest, and then take the necessary action that you need to for you. And thank you so much. And until next time, and Satnam. No moon.